The tempest that had long brewed beneath the veneer of my seemingly idyllic marriage finally erupted, not with a whimper, but with the brutal revelation of my ex-wife's clandestine affair. A year ago, her calculated decision to abandon our life together to chase a phantom love paradoxically delivered a profound and unexpected sense of liberation. It was a strange alchemy, this freedom born from betrayal. From the outside, our union might have appeared whole, a picture of domestic bliss, but within its hollowed core, a decade-long decay had reduced it to an empty, echoing void. For years, I had been systematically dismantled, my spirit chipped away by the relentless grinding pressure of her mental and financial tyranny. She moved through my life like a parasitic force, siphoning vast sums from my accounts, leaving me to scramble in the ensuing financial wreckage, desperately trying to keep our household afloat. Every confrontation, every whispered plea for accountability was met with a venomous counterattack, a twisted reversal of blame where my perceived inability to earn enough became the root of all her transgressions. No gesture, no triumph, no painstaking effort on my part was ever sufficient. My existence seemed to serve only as a wellspring for her boundless ire, transforming my every attempt at connection into a source of fresh indignation. My soul yearned for genuine intimacy, for shared laughter and stolen moments of joy. I painstakingly orchestrated dates, planned elaborate family excursions, hoping to rekindle the embers of what we once were, but her indifference was a glacial wall. She would complain, lash out, or simply retreat into the suffocating oblivion of sleep, her perpetual disinterest a bitter taste in my mouth. Eventually, the crushing weight of her apathy forced me to withdraw, to cease my futile attempts at inclusion. Predictably, this retreat became new ammunition for her arsenal of grievances. She accused me of alienating our children, a cruel irony given her own utter disengagement. Then came the insidious progression of her absences, nights away, cloaked in vague whispers of a friend's house, a name I barely recognized. When I dared to pry, her irritation flared, her voice laced with venom as she declared her whereabouts none of my concern. The word divorce, when it finally escaped her lips, hung in the air, heavy with both dread and a profound, almost dizzying wave of relief. The precipice of an unknown future loomed, yet beyond it I could discern the faint flicker of an ending to our desolate marriage. I pored over every document her lawyer dispatched, scrutinizing each page with a desperate intensity. What I unearthed was not merely oversight, but a staggering display of incompetence. Errors proliferated like a malignant growth, a cascade of blunders so profound they miraculously, inexplicably delayed our divorce hearing by several months. Each time I discovered a new absurdity, my name butchered, our birth date scrambled, even our child's name and birth date grotesquely distorted, I returned the papers unsigned, a silent defiance. The lawyer's office, in their bewildering ineptitude, would attempt corrections, only to introduce fresh inaccuracies or, even more maddeningly, repeat the very mistakes I had already flagged. They conjured imaginary children, botched our marriage date with casual indifference, and even mangled our home address. Properties we had never owned, phantom pets, businesses that existed only in their fevered imagination, all found their way into the official record. One draft even proposed a $500,000 settlement for these spectral enterprises, a sum intended for businesses that were pure fantasy, and then the pinnacle of their buffoonery, her own lawyer's name misspelled. I can still recall the guttural, almost hysterical laughter that erupted from me in the quiet solitude of the bathroom. a release of pure, unadulterated amusement at the sheer, unbridled absurdity of it all. It took 7 agonizing drafts, each a testament to their unwavering commitment to error, before most of the egregious mistakes were purged. Yet even the final submission to the court, the document intended to sever the last ties of our union, bore witness to their monumental ineptitude. The process was a frustrating, soul-crushing farce. Yet the sheer scale and elementary nature of these blunders offered a strange, dark comedy, transforming an otherwise unbearable situation into something marginally more tolerable. It bought me precious time, a reprieve to gather my shattered pieces and prepare for the uncertain path that lay ahead. During the contentious proceedings, her lawyer, with audacious gall, stood before the judge, arguing that I should bear the full crushing weight of all court and legal fees. But I was armed, not with malice, but with meticulous, undeniable proof. I presented a comprehensive ledger of their office's relentless blunders, a damning chronicle of every misstep, every delay, every costly error that had protracted this agonizing process. The sheer volume of errors in the paperwork they had inflicted upon me was irrefutable. The judge, faced with this overwhelming evidence, saw through their charade and spared me that final crushing burden. Once the legal chains were irrevocably severed, she vanished into the arms of her new paramour, a man she believed to be her salvation. But the illusion of greener pastures quickly dissolved into a barren wasteland. He was no savior, he was a monster, and a chilling pattern of abuse became her grim new reality. The moment I swiftly changed all my banking passwords, her access to my financial lifelines evaporated, a sudden, brutal shock that forced her to confront the stark reality of her utter dependence on my income. To compound her growing despair, she had been entrusted with managing the payments for the very house we had inhabited, a property that belonged to her unsuspecting uncle. Her neglect had brought it to the brink of foreclosure, the bank's greedy maw ready to swallow it whole. Her uncle, his voice laced with desperation, sought me out, offering a grim ultimatum. If I wished to remain in the house, I would have to shoulder her staggering backlog of missed mortgage payments, a monumental sum of approximately $15,000 for 6 months of her dereliction. I possessed no such idle wealth. Instead, I proposed a radical, audacious solution. I would purchase the house from him outright. To my profound astonishment, he agreed without hesitation. And so, the very home that had belonged to her grandmother, a relic imbued with the ghosts of her family's past, now became undeniably, irrevocably mine. A year has unfolded since the divorce was finally etched into legal stone. My career has soared, a promotion and a substantial pay increase at work solidifying my newfound independence. I remain rooted in the house. Each improvement I painstakingly make, a defiant declaration of my autonomy, a visible manifestation of my healing. While love has yet to bloom anew in its full glory, the world of online dating has opened a vibrant tapestry of new connections, and I embrace the exhilarating, liberating freedom of single life. The profound irony of her choices is not lost on me. She abandoned a bedrock of stability for a man who proved to be a source of profound chaos, and in her reckless pursuit she very nearly cost her own uncle his property. In a strange, twisted way, her decision to divorce me, though devastating at the time, was ultimately the greatest favor she could have bestowed upon me. Should the harsh realities of her new life ever force her to confront the profound mistake she made, should her tears begin to flow, remember this: do not be swayed. Never look back. The phoenix rises from the ashes. November 3rd approaches, a poignant, almost sacred marker of 1 year since the decree of divorce was finalized. This past year has been a crucible of unrelenting self-transformation, a defiant act of reclamation. A wise therapist became my guide, encouraging me to embark on a journey of profound personal growth, a directive I embraced with every shattered fiber of my being. My very existence underwent a radical metamorphosis. My diet and exercise routine were meticulously overhauled, shedding over 50 pounds of not just weight, but the accumulated burden of years of unhappiness. Soccer, a passion long dormant, roared back to life with fervent intensity. I now play regularly, the thrill of the game coursing through my veins, and have even embraced the fulfilling role of coaching my children's youth team. Beyond the physical, my mind found solace in the printed word. I rediscovered my profound love for reading, setting, and achieving the ambitious goal of devouring a new book every single week. My unwavering efforts bore tangible fruit in my professional life as well. A substantial raise and a coveted promotion at work, empowering me with the financial means to navigate the complexities of single parenthood with a newfound ease. Yet, despite this burgeoning success, this remarkable resurgence, she has suddenly reappeared, a ghost from a past I had meticulously buried, now desperate to claw her way back into our lives. Her latest relationship, the one with the man she once hailed as her savior from our terrible marriage, has spiraled into chilling violence. He has become an unmasked abuser, and one recent episode was so brutally severe it landed her in the sterile confines of a hospital bed. Our child tragically was present during that terrifying ordeal, forced to make the harrowing call for an ambulance. Despite the undeniable evidence, the stark reality of her injuries, she clings to a defiant denial, stubbornly refusing to press charges, though the raw, visible bruises scream the truth to anyone who dared to look. Just last night I attended a family party, a gathering on her side of the family that had always embraced me with genuine warmth. I maintained a polite but deliberately distant demeanor, choosing not to engage in conversation with her, a stark boundary I was unwilling to cross. Yet her relatives, seemingly ensnared in a collective delusion, insist with a bewildering conviction that we are still inextricably bound by love. Nothing could be further from the truth. Perhaps she tolerated the quiet desolation of our marriage. Perhaps she even found a perverse comfort in its emptiness. But I was not happy at all. In those final agonizing years, I became a hollowed-out shell, withdrawn, unresponsive, a mere financial conduit for her insatiable demands. For the last 2 years of our life together, she ruthlessly exploited me, emotionally and financially. And during our final year as a married couple, she was brazenly entangled with another man. Every desperate attempt I made to confront her about her brazen affair was met with vehement denial, followed by her swift, cowardly flight to his waiting arms. When I finally caught her red-handed, the blame, predictably, was instantly twisted back upon me, a cruel accusation that my supposed lack of support had driven her to infidelity. The truth, the agonizing truth, was that I was pouring every single penny of my earnings, after bills, into our shared existence. I hadn't even bought myself new clothes or shoes for years, so tight was our financial stranglehold. Then, out of the blue, like a specter from a forgotten nightmare, she materialized at one of the soccer games. After the final whistle, she delivered a bombshell, her voice surprisingly steady. "Are you ready to move back in with me?" I was utterly taken aback, the words catching in my throat. I demanded to know with a raw incredulity why on earth I would even consider such a thing. She then launched into a fantastical narrative, weaving a nonsensical tapestry of undying love, our shared child, and the purported benefits of raising them together under one roof. I had to tell her plainly, with a chilling absence of emotion, that I have no love, no trust left for her, none at all. I even reminded her, a flicker of cold satisfaction, that she still owed me over $100 for fixing her car. Her response, delivered with a bewildering sense of entitlement: she would pay me back if we moved in together. That was the breaking point. I couldn't hold it back any longer. I burst out laughing, a raw, almost manic cackle that doubled me over, tears streaming down my face. Seeing me laugh, she began to cry, and honestly, her tears only fueled my uncontrollable amusement, making me laugh even harder. Perhaps it wasn't the kindest reaction, but after everything I had endured, every ounce of effort I had poured into rebuilding myself, the very notion of returning to her, to the architect of my deepest pain, seemed like the most preposterous, self-destructive decision imaginable. My child still holds a deep, unwavering affection for his mother, a sacred bond I would never, ever seek to damage. I believe with a quiet certainty that if there is any turning away to be done, she will, through her own actions, manage that all on her own. The sheer audacity of her suggestion that we move back in together, offered without a single apology, without the slightest flicker of remorse for her past transgressions, took me completely by surprise. Instead, she boldly proposed a joint future, acting as if she were bestowing some invaluable gift upon me, a twisted perception of reality that was utterly out there. And then the image of our child, forced to endure the distressing spectacle of his mother in a harmful situation, a trauma that could leave deep, indelible scars. It is now paramount, I believe, to secure full custody, to shield him from ever again being subjected to such a profoundly damaging environment. A new chapter unfolds. Moving forward, my latest news unfurls like a vibrant banner. I have met someone truly special. I understand that the process of healing from these profound events will demand time, a patient unraveling for everyone involved. Yet I am filled with a hopeful certainty that each of us will discover our own unique versions of happiness, whatever paths our relationships may ultimately take. This past year, a tumultuous roller coaster of emotions and transformations, culminated in the quiet celebration of my first divorce anniversary on November 3rd. Since that day, my focus has been an unwavering commitment to self-improvement, guided by the wisdom gleaned from therapy and embracing the exhilarating, sometimes daunting landscape of dating. I have met some truly fantastic women, and admittedly a few who were less than ideal matches for my renewed spirit. Just this past Monday, a storm broke, ignited by a seemingly innocuous Facebook post. My ex-wife stumbled across it, a vibrant dispatch from my new girlfriend, Cher. Cher had shared a collection of photos from a truly wonderful trip we had taken together over the weekend. We had indulged in delectable food, savored a few drinks, and simply reveled in an incredible time, capturing countless joyous moments in those shared images. I'm not typically one to document my dates with photographs, but Cher is different, her presence infusing my life with such vibrant energy. So when she asked if she could post our trip pictures and tag me, I happily agreed, a subtle defiance. I was almost certain that sharing those photos would stir up some drama, but the reaction I received from my ex-wife and her entire family was of an astonishing, almost terrifying intensity. Let me provide a more comprehensive backdrop to illuminate the full, unsettling picture. My ex-wife's infidelity had been a festering wound for over a year before our marriage officially imploded. She had been seeing someone else even before we formally separated, and brazenly moved in with her boyfriend while our divorce was still being processed, a slap in the face to any lingering sense of decency. Now a full year has passed since the divorce was finalized. Throughout the entirety of our marriage, Her behavior towards me was a relentless barrage of emotional and financial manipulation, a slow, corrosive poison, and tragically, her abusive patterns persist. But after I posted those photographs, she plunged to an entirely new, terrifying depth of hostility and outright disrespect. On Monday, her voice a shrill weapon, she deliberately twisted the narrative, painting me as the one who had been unfaithful. She railed against the shame and humiliation of my audacious act, sharing pictures on social media where I was seen with other women. She hurled accusations of selfishness and insensitivity, claiming I had utterly disregarded her feelings, branding me a coward for hiding my new relationships. She even went so far as to declare that my actions had utterly destroyed any lingering hope of us ever reconciling, claiming that any love she still held for me had been brutally killed off by what she venomously called my cheating ways. As she spewed these vitriolic accusations, her voice rising to a frantic crescendo over the phone, I couldn't help but find the profound irony of her claims utterly hilarious. I simply laughed, a raw, uncontrolled mirth, as she spent a solid 30 minutes ranting about how I had supposedly ruined our relationship and betrayed her, despite the undeniable, irrefutable truth that she was the one who had cheated. She was the one who had been abusive throughout the entirety of our relationship. When my ex-wife, in a fit of bewildering audacity, questioned my fidelity during our marriage, my response was clear, unwavering, and utterly devoid of regret. I had been completely faithful and loyal until the day our relationship officially, irrevocably ended. But she didn't stop there. With a persistence born of perverse entitlement, she pressed on, interrogating me about my dating life since our divorce. This fresh absurdity only fueled my amusement, and I firmly, unequivocally, told her that my personal life was no longer her concern, now that we were no longer bound together. I pointed out with a chilling precision that just as I no longer meddled in her affairs, she possessed no right whatsoever to intrude into mine. Despite my attempt to erect this crucial boundary, she retaliated with a barrage of truly hurtful and offensive text messages, a relentless assault targeting both me and my current girlfriend, Cher. She even escalated her threats, vowing to send Cher direct messages to poison her mind with all manner of negative fabrications about what it was like to be married to me. I simply told her she was welcome to try if she truly believed it would make any difference. Then, in a moment that truly laid bare her profound detachment from reality, my ex-wife mentioned wanting to meet Cher in person to see what kind of woman she is, implying that Cher must be a terrible person for supposedly breaking up a happy marriage. That's when the dam of my patience finally broke. I reminded her bluntly, starkly, that our marriage had ended over a year ago, and it was she who had the affair, she who had left me for someone else, she who had filed for divorce, the unveiling of truth. At this precise point, her carefully constructed facade shattered. My ex-wife broke down, tears streaming, her voice dissolving into broken sobs. Through her grief, she confessed that she had been clinging to a desperate, delusional hope that we might somehow reconcile, that the past could be undone. She complained with an astonishing lack of self-awareness that it was unfair I had moved on, that I had found someone else to spend time with, insisting with an almost childlike petulance that I should be focusing all my energy on doing things with her and our child, as if we were still a functional family unit. This entire conversation served as a stark, undeniable testament to just how profoundly disconnected from reality my ex-wife had become, seemingly utterly unable to accept the devastating, undeniable consequences of her own actions that had led to what you'd see The ignominious end of our marriage. My ex-wife recently admitted to me with a surprising lack of self-awareness that she is profoundly unhappy in her current relationship with her boyfriend, lamenting that he doesn't treat her well. Honestly, I wasn't surprised by this revelation. I had suspected as much for quite some time, the dark undercurrents of his nature apparent even to an outsider. However, hearing about her problems, witnessing her current misery, brings me absolutely no satisfaction. In fact, I harbor no feelings for her whatsoever anymore, and the very thought of getting back together with her is anathema. I would, in truth, prefer it if our interactions were limited to the absolute bare minimum, strictly concerning our child. But on a brighter, infinitely more joyful note, my life is flourishing, a vibrant tapestry of contentment. I have found an extraordinary happiness with my girlfriend, Cher. She infuses my life with such profound joy, a radiant light that chases away the lingering shadows. I always look forward to spending time with her. She is the last voice I hear before I drift into sleep, the first one I reach out to when I awaken. We are already eagerly planning another trip together, another chapter in our blossoming story. I am acutely aware that sharing photos of our trip might inevitably trigger another negative, perhaps even venomous reaction from my ex-wife. But to me, living my life authentically, living it happily, is a reward that far outweighs any potential backlash. It is unequivocally clear to me now that my ex-wife has always relentlessly tried to paint me as the villain, a classic manifestation of narcissistic behavior, a twisted manipulation of reality. To those who have offered me sage counsel, you are profoundly right. I must keep our interactions strictly limited to matters concerning our child, and steadfastly avoid being dragged into long, pointless, and emotionally draining conversations with her. And yes, I am fully prepared for the chilling possibility that she might try to spread malicious lies about me, to weave her toxic narratives. But my unwavering focus remains fixed on moving forward, positively, relentlessly. The unyielding spirit. 2 years. 2 years since that fateful night, March 21st, 2022, the day everything irrevocably shifted. That late night in 2021 etched forever in my memory. I discovered not just one affair, but undeniable evidence of another, and perhaps even more, a horrifying tapestry of betrayal. After 23 years of marriage, 2 biological children and a stepchild, I spent a grueling year trying to mend what was irrevocably shattered. But her ongoing escalating struggles with mental health, the corrosive grip of PTSD, her substance abuse, and the chilling discovery of a secret second phone she was using to conduct her clandestine life, rendered any further attempts at reconciliation utterly impossible. The final brutal straw in my agonizing marriage came in a terrifying, almost unbelievable flash. She fired a gun into my side of the bed. That chilling, life-altering moment, the smell of gunpowder still lingering in the air, solidified my decision to end things once and for all. I filed for divorce in April, and by June it was over. The relief that washed over me was not merely enormous, it was existential. It was as if I had been granted a second chance at life, a profound, unexpected rebirth. Up until that point, I hadn't fully grasped the suffocating weight of stress and the ever-present chilling fear I had been living with, a constant low hum of dread. Looking back, I can now clearly discern all the egregious mistakes I made after discovering her profound betrayal. My initial reactions were entirely wrong, driven by a desperate, frantic need to fix something that was beyond repair. Instead of allowing myself the crucial time to process the devastating reality of everything, I rushed headlong into trying to mend our relationship without ever truly addressing the deeply rooted underlying issues that had festered for so long. We failed to seek therapy immediately, a catastrophic oversight that proved to be a critical turning point. By the time we finally did begin therapy, it was already far too late to make any meaningful difference. Our children, tragically, had already lost all respect for their mother, witnessing her relentless deceit. And I was left feeling a devastating cocktail of profound devastation, searing humiliation, raw anger, and a crushing grief. I was barely existing, drifting through the days like a zombie, my soul in a profound stupor. In April of last year, I found myself overwhelmed, almost drowning in the sheer number of people who reached out to offer their solace and support after my ex-wife launched a vicious, calculated smear campaign against me on social media. She accused me of every conceivable transgression under the sun, from vile accusations of abuse and rape to the outright theft of a significant sum of money, conveniently omitting, of course, any mention of her own damning actions. I responded with a terse, dignified public service announcement to clear my name, stating unequivocally that none of her accusations held an ounce of truth. I understood if some people felt they needed to distance themselves from me, to sever ties, but I also held on to the fragile hope that others would be willing to extend me the grace of a chance to prove my innocence. Meanwhile, my unwavering focus shifted inwards towards the arduous yet ultimately liberating journey of improving myself. I relentlessly dedicated myself to physical transformation, shedding a staggering 65 pounds, plummeting from 250 lbs to a lean 185 lbs. I also orchestrated a significant, empowering career move, taking on a new role that came with a well-deserved promotion. I harbored playful plans to embark on a summer of revenge, casually dating through phone apps, a light-hearted antidote to the years of darkness. It was during this period that an old high school classmate reached out to me, a beacon of unexpected connection. She lived far away across state lines and was herself navigating a strikingly similar breakup, having discovered her partner's betrayal about 6 months after my own. We began checking in with each other regularly, our conversations a balm of mutual support and profound understanding. Then a work trip took me to Knoxville. One evening we found ourselves texting, catching up, sharing our experiences with a comfortable ease. I had been eagerly anticipating some live music during my stay, talking up how exciting the 2 nights ahead were going to be, a simple pleasure after so much pain. But contrary to my initial, almost flippant expectation, my summer did not unfold as a series of casual flings. Instead, what blossomed was a summer filled with sun-drenched beach outings, soul-stirring live music, tours of distilleries, a delightful nod to her deep appreciation for whiskey, and simply exquisitely having a great time, a joy the likes of which I hadn't experienced in years. As summer gracefully transitioned into the crisp embrace of fall, our relationship deepened, evolving organically, beautifully. We introduced each other to our families, shared a heartwarming Thanksgiving with her kin, celebrated Christmas together, and even embarked on a spontaneous trip to Las Vegas, reveling in a long weekend over the Super Bowl. All these shared experiences drew us inexorably closer. Now, as I stand on the cusp of celebrating my 52nd birthday, I find myself genuinely, profoundly happy. The last couple of birthdays were bleak, etched with pain and loneliness, but this one feels uniquely special, exhilarating, vibrant, because she is on her way to move in with me. She is a nurse and with remarkable efficiency managed to secure a job in my city here in the South. She has wisely decided to retain ownership of her own house, allowing her daughter to rent it out. If a close friend were in my situation, I might have, with genuine concern, cautioned them that it was too much, too soon. But for us, for this connection we share, it just feels so undeniably right. We are not rushing headlong into marriage or anything of that magnitude. We are simply two people, weary of the relentless dance of matching schedules, tired of missing out on precious shared time. We are moving in together to test the very core of our relationship, to see if its strength is as profound and unyielding as we profoundly believe it to be. On this forum, a pervasive theme often revolves around karma or the desire for revenge against ex-partners. In my case, my ex still sends me drunk texts, a confusing, often desperate mix of veiled apologies and thinly veiled accusations, half the time expressing remorse, the other half stubbornly clinging to the delusion that everything was my fault. But the undeniable truth is I am infinitely happier now, liberated from her presence. The constant stress has lifted, replaced by a profound sense of peace, and I have met someone truly incredible, a woman who is simply amazing, far exceeding anything I ever dared to hope for, and her genuine interest in me sometimes makes me worry it's almost too good to be true. So, in a profound, quiet way, I feel like I have already achieved the very best kind of revenge by simply living my life and living it well, living it truly, a beacon of resilience. My message to you all is this, a truth forged in the crucible of my own experience. Even though what happened to you, what was inflicted upon you by your spouse or partner was utterly devastating, a soul-crushing blow, it is profoundly possible to move past it, to heal, and to find happiness again. Sometimes they don't truly realize the precious gift they had until it's irrevocably gone, snatched away. But once you find yourself on the other side, once you emerge from the depths of despair, you might just discover that you are, in fact, immeasurably better off. I shared my story not to seek pity, not to dwell in the past, but to inspire you, to infuse you with the unwavering belief that you must never, ever give up, no matter how tough things become, no matter how insurmountable the obstacles seem. It is never, truly never too late to make a fresh start, to carve a new path for yourself. Remember to prioritize your own well-being, to put yourself first, and to cultivate an unshakable faith in your own inherent ability to recover and to thrive. Things truly can improve, even when the darkness feels absolute. I managed to start a new life at 50, a living, breathing testament that it is possible at any age, that hope is never truly lost. Ladies and gentlemen, since you've listened to the end of this story, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments which state you're watching from. Let's see what percentage of elite viewers make it to the end. And please kindly turn your attention to the screen after this message. There you'll find a full playlist of thrilling stories, a subscribe button for the channel, and our most captivating story. Click, enjoy, and thank you.